Well, the big thing is carbs. And I know that lots of you have heard about reducing carbs, and you think, oh, why is that? You know, I've got to reduce carbs. As long as I'm sticking within my calories, then what's the problem? But there's lots and lots of reasons why we reduce carbs, because calories are not all equal. The way our body processes carbohydrates is very much different than the way it processes fats and protein. And I'm hoping to demonstrate that tonight. So when you eat carbs, such as this piece of chocolate cake here, that piece of chocolate cake goes into your body and it is very easily converted into glucose or sugar in the blood. And glucose and sugar is what we need for our energy to move, for our energy to live, for all the energy that our body consumes. It needs to be broken down into glucose to go into our bloodstream, which then provides glucose, provides energy in our muscles. And our heart is the biggest muscle in our body. So, you know, it needs, everywhere needs that energy. So fat, on the other hand, is converted to glucose, but it takes a much more effort. So the body would always, if it had a choice, prefer to go to the glucose, to the carbohydrates before it goes to your fat. So if you've got carbohydrates, particularly simple carbohydrates, which are things like sugar, pastry, cakes, biscuits, crisps, potatoes, rice, pasta, those are what we call simple carbohydrates that are easily broken down into glucose. It will always go and find that energy from that food source that you've eaten, or that sugar that's in your bloodstream from that first. If it can't find that, then it will go to your fat. So if you've not eaten as much as you need to function that day, it will go, you know, as many sugar molecules, it will go to your fat. But if you can see that if you eat 1,000 calories worth of protein and 1,000 calories worth of carbohydrates, it's going to work much harder to convert the protein into glucose, and it's much more likely to then try to break down the fat from your body. So, and I'm going to explain this further. So it's going to convert that. It's much happier when it uses that. So I'm just going to skip out of here for a minute because I need to move some things around. So if you have a quick look at that diagram there, what you can see is how the carbs affect our blood sugar and insulin levels, and how that can be stored as fat. That's what I want to show you. So also why they make you feel, why they're called comfort foods, and why you self-medicate with food and carbs. Because this is your body here, the white bit, this is all your body. This white bit in the background represents your blood, okay? This bit here is your pancreas, which plays a very important role in digestion, but it also helps to store fat in it, but it produces insulin, which are these keys here. So this is your muscle, and in your muscle cells are these little guys here that are called glucose receivers. And their job is to pull sugar, which are these little blue guys, in from the blood, which is the white bit, into the muscle cells to give you energy. So you can run, you can walk, or your heart can beat. These are fat cells here, and these are the sugar molecules. Okay? So, if you have a look at this, every time we eat or drink something with carbohydrates, for example, cakes, biscuits, cola, chocolate, crisps, potatoes, rice, pasta, they get digested and released into the blood as blood glucose or blood sugar, these little blue things. And the level of your blood sugar goes up. The pancreas sees this sugar and does its job by producing these insulin keys. And they go to the muscle over here, you drag them over here, and they knock on the door, and these little guys here unlock the door and let the sugar molecules come flooding in. Here you go, you've let them in, and they come into your muscle, and you've got plenty of sugar to go in your muscle, and everything is well in the world. Okay? However, so many people end up with too much sugar in their blood from binge eating too many carbs, and their blood sugar is too high. So they've got too many of these little guys in their blood. So the pancreas makes all of this insulin, loads of insulin. But this time, these little key will go knocking at the door and say hello to this guy, and he'll go knock, knock, knock. Don't bark, Dotty. Knock, knock, knock. Knock, knock, knock. But they can't hear him because the cells are becoming resistant to this insulin. You may have heard of insulin resistance, and they don't hear that knock from the door. So the pancreas then starts to freak out, and it goes into overtime because it needs to get this sugar into the blood, and it goes, oh right, well there mustn't be enough insulin, so I'm going to produce more insulin. So more and more insulin is produced over here. The problem with that, it floods the blood sugar with insulin, and gradually these guys let some in, unlock the door and let some of the sugar in the muscle cells, so some of it will come in, but not as much as should do. So say every key has got one blood sugar, it's only letting some of these in, so there's still some of these running around in the bloodstream. And they want to get rid of this blood sugar. That's their job, is to get it out of the bloodstream. But we need a level of blood sugar in our blood to keep it balanced. And when our blood sugar level goes too low, it sends massive signals to our brain to tell us to eat. So what happens here, we've got all these insulin keys in our bloodstream that are going, I need to get rid of this, I need to get rid of this. So what else can they do with it? They take it over here and they store it as fat. And as if that's not bad enough, okay, what they then do, there's too much insulin in the blood. And the insulin then takes too many of these sugar molecules. Instead of taking enough to keep it balanced, it takes too many of them because there's too much insulin in the blood. And it causes those blood sugar levels to crash. So it stored it as fat. Whatever's left, it takes them out, stores it as fat. So you're building fat, but also your blood sugar levels have gone wham, right down. And then what happens? The signals go rushing to your brain that say, I've not eaten, I'm hungry. So you've just eaten 2 digestive biscuits 20 minutes ago. And you go, oh God, I need something sweet. I need something that's got sugar in it. And that you think that's you, that craving, it's like me, oh God, why can't I resist it? It's not, it's your body saying your blood sugar level is low. And it's what we call reactive hyperglycemia, which means that it makes you hungry, it makes you irritable, shaky, and you want to eat really, really quickly again. So this process of them resisting this insulin is called insulin resistance or pre-diabetes. And the majority of weight loss surgery people, when they come to the stage of having weight loss surgery, have this to some extent. They're on that level where they're producing far too much insulin for the sugar that's in their system. So it's almost like you're fighting a losing battle, because it's like your body has become a fat storer rather than a fat burner already. And that's why over the, suddenly you might say, well, I used to be able to eat whatever I wanted, but suddenly now, bang, I can't eat anything. And it's like every time I look at a cream cake and all I do is put weight on. Well, you don't need to look at it. But to be fair, your body is in fat producing mode because your insulin and your pancreas is not working properly. And then eventually your pancreas over time gets so tired of producing this excess insulin and it can't cope. So it stops producing insulin or not enough, and then you're really in trouble because you've got extra sugar in the blood and you end up with type 2 diabetes. So that is the process that goes on. So really what we're trying to say is that, we need to stop eating carbs and sugar and then everything will be fine. But it's not quite as simple as that, is it? Because if it was that simple, we would have done that a long time ago. I don't know whether you can see me now, it's gone really dark in here. Are you still with me, guys? Everybody's still there. Let me just have a quick look on my screen to see if I've got anybody talking to me. No, I don't think I have. I can't even see it now, so I can't see my, oh yeah, I can, I'm there. Anybody there? See you guys comment the screen to see if I've got anybody talking to me. Okay, let's leave it. No, I don't think I have. I can't even see it now, so. Okay, so we've also got something else going on. So we are designed as human beings to resist stress, and you may have heard of the stress fight or flight mechanism in our body. So in olden days, when we were a Neanderthal man and women, our stress was in the form of predator. So it's like, it really was fight or flight or you're going to die. There is no other option. So our body is designed, for example, if this tiger was coming at you and you can see it in the corner, I mean, if you shouted help, actually, you'd probably end up dead. But, it's like, what the hell am I going to do? And what happens is that your body gets flooded with two hormones called cortisol and adrenaline. You may have heard an adrenaline buzz. It's like that rush, like when you're in a roller coaster. That's the equivalent of a saber-toothed tiger, that feeling like I'm going to die. Holy shit, I might die. And you get this cortisol and adrenaline running around your body. And it, you're asking, do I fight or do I run? Now, the problem with this cortisol is what it does is it goes directly to the liver and gets the stored sugar out of the liver, which is in your liver, and very quickly into your bloodstream to help you to run or to fight. Okay, so it's almost an instant reaction. You get that absolute, oh shit, that anxiety, and you can probably feel everything go tingly because all your blood goes to your vital organs. It takes it away from your fingers and your toes and all your extremities. It stops your digestive system, and it just literally takes it to the places like your legs and things where you're going to fight, and keeps your vital organs really, really low. And you fight and flight, and you use that sugar really quickly, and then hopefully you've run away from the tiger and you're fine. Now, we don't have that sort of stress in our everyday world. I always sort of stress is what I call the washing machine brain stress. So it's that stress that just is a constant low-level stress of anxiety, of itty bits of things. Am I going to get that deadline run for my boss? Am I going to get the kids to school? Have I missed this? We have so many pressures in our life that aren't like saber-toothed tiger pressures up here. They are low-level stress, but it's constant. And it's not that once in a month I'm going to see a tiger, so I need that quick burst of energy, and that's fine because I've used it and it's gone. But the same thing happens. So that, you get that anxiety that, oh shit, oh God, I forgot to, whatever it might be. Cortisol and adrenaline is produced. Your liver gives this rush of sugar into your bloodstream because it thinks it's a saber-toothed tiger, basically. However, when you don't do anything with that, so you don't fight and run, you sit at your desk going, God, I better get that report out quickly, start typing it, all of that sugar's in your bloodstream. Then you get your insulin running in. The sugar's not being used and it stores it straight as fat. So it's even on that level as well. So this physiology, understanding this is really important. Okay? So what happens is you start to put weight on. And then what happens? Well, I start to put weight on. I'm feeling pretty rubbish about myself. I'm feeling stressed. I'm in emotional pain. And then we've got this hormone called serotonin. So I'm in emotional pain. I'm feeling stressed. I'm fed up. I know what's going to fix that. I know what always fixes it. It always makes me feel better. I don't know why it makes me feel better, but it does. I'm going to have that bar of chocolate. So in comes a bar of chocolate. We eat the bar of chocolate and we think, oh, I feel miles better now. The blood sugar and the insulin's raised, like we said before, but it also increases our serotonin, which is our happy hormone. So sugar produces a happy hormone called serotonin. So it's not surprising that when we're feeling fed up that we want to turn to sugar, because our body has learnt that it produces this happy hormone. And that's all well and good. But what happens is that we do that over periods of time, along with the cortisol problem, along with the insulin, the overproduction of insulin, then we're just piling the weight on. What happens then? We start to pile the weight on and we go, oh shit, why have I done it again? What have I done? Washing machine brain comes back in, more cortisol's produced. But to make it even worse, there is also, for some of us that have an addictive sugar cycle. So if you could class yourself, I know I am, as a sugar addict, I can't understand why when I eat one biscuit, I just can't not eat 3 or 4. One is just impossible. I'd rather have none. Because I know that the minute I have that one biscuit, I am going to be craving so badly for another one in a few minutes. And it's not about the insulin loop, because it's too quick. It's like, as a minute that first one's finished, I'm like, I need another. I'm like, give me one, give me. Well, some people, sugar activates a reward center in the brain. So, for example, if my husband had a piece of chocolate and we went back, he would have that nice, what's it called? Smiley face, going, oh, that was nice. That makes me feel nice. I've got this little serotonin. I eat the chocolate and I have this large spike of dopamine, which is a drug in our system. And boy, I don't just feel happy. I feel delirious. It's like, oh my God. What have you done? And that is why then, because I've got this reward center in my brain being activated by sugar, I get this large spike of dopamine and I'm almost powerless against that next biscuit. That craving is so strong. So what can you do about this? Well, it's not just a matter of willpower. You can reduce your carbohydrate intake, particularly simple sugars, as much as you can. Increase your protein and your fat. This is really important because protein and fat, and you do need fat because fat is a satiety, it decreases your hunger and makes you full for longer. So protein will fill your pouch or your sleeve, and the fat gives you a feeling of satiety, which means basically you're not hungry, and it keeps you full for longer. So that is another one of the reasons why we always say protein first, because you won't feel as hungry for the carbohydrates. Eat regular meals. If you go too long without food, you're setting yourself up for low blood sugar, and when that low blood sugar comes, it's like that, I'm straight to the brain, what can I eat, I'm starving, I need some sugar, and I'm straight in there, in the sweets, the biscuits, the crisps, whatever, because it's quick and it's easy and it gives me that hit of sugar that I need really quickly. But if I eat regular meals of protein and fat with a few good carbs in there, like beans and pulses and lentils and fruit and veg, then I'm much less likely to go for those carbohydrates or to have those sugar cravings. Plenty of water, keeping your water levels up. Not only does it flush all the fat out in your body as you're losing the fat, but it helps to keep you hydrated, because quite often we can think that we're hungry when we're actually dehydrated. And exercise. So that stress thing that I was telling you about, when the cortisol comes in and it takes us and it gets the sugar out of the liver and we don't do anything with it, well, exercise will do something with it. So that's the equivalent, if you like, of fighting the saber-toothed tiger. So that's why they say exercise is a stress buster, because it does actually counter-produce that effect of cortisol in your body and stops you from storing it as fat. And then the head stuff, because then there is the psychology of the craving. So we've talked about that, is the associations, the payoffs, the associations with places, people, things, rituals, that type of thing, healing core wounds, healing everyday stresses and everyday feelings. So it's a really complex subject, but it's I find it incredibly fascinating, and I hope you can see by this overview tonight that there are so many things in play and so many reasons why to reduce your simple carbohydrates. And I'm not saying that you need to go keto or massively low carbs. I'm not saying that at all. But what I'm saying is to try to reduce the simple sugars in your diet, which are not just sugars, but flour, white flour particularly, pasta, rice, potatoes. Have sweet potatoes instead, they're better. Just reducing those as much as you can, you will find that your cravings naturally disappear. You're not going to have as many cravings as you would if you continue to eat them. Eating the one is going to set you up for the second one, not just because you've got the taste for it. You hear people say, I've got a taste for that now. It's not just about having the taste for it, it's that all of that physiology that started in your body going on without you even being aware of it that makes you go, oh, I've got the taste for that, I'll have another one. So I hope that has helped you. I hope you've sort of understood that. I'm going to come back to, if I can work out how to do it, I will go back to full video mode. So I do hope that has been helpful this evening, and I hope that you have got something from it. If you have got any questions at all, please let me know, because I'd really like to see what you think of it. I've made it as simple as possible. I know it's not necessarily 100% accurate. I'm not an endocrinologist or a dietitian, but what I try to do is to break it down and give you medical and scientific facts in a simpler way so that you can understand it, so that for yourself. So anyhow, I hope that was really helpful, and I will see you all next Wednesday. I haven't decided what I'm going to talk about next Wednesday, but we'll see. Okay, have a lovely week, everybody. I don't know whether there is anybody still here watching. I can't really see. Oh, we've got 6 people on. Take care, everyone, and really have a lovely. Have a lovely evening. See you all next Wednesday. Okay, my darlings. I haven't decided what I'm going to take care. Bye bye. But we'll see.